is the first step to go forward with that. This is a condition, if you will, to final action. So I'd ask if there are any questions or comments from council. Yes, Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. So I guess my only question would be, if we're saying this to be without cause, what is the cause? Shouldn't we have a cause? I mentioned in the last meeting, I know that we all have different interactions based on the things that we are dealing with and discussing. As far as PD is concerned, all of my work with Together for Children and the new initiatives and the GBI, and my conversations with the city manager. I mean, I've just never received an answer that they didn't either already know what was happening or that they would look into and follow up with right away. So my question would be, if we know what we have, why are we risking what we could get? So that would be my question.
That's a good question. I can only speak for myself, and I've said this publicly and privately. We're on the cusp of, I think, having a lot of new development and redevelopment and a lot of good opportunities for our community. Across the board, it's my opinion. Well, let me back up and say that the manager and I philosophically agree on a majority of items. We think alike in a lot of ways. For me, it is, and again, I've said this before, the failure, in my view, to hold staff accountable to do their jobs quickly, properly, and efficiently. And I could have a whole laundry list of items. I know it's been, look, solid waste was a nightmare. Code enforcement was a nightmare. I don't share the love for the chief of police that the manager and many members in the public do. That's no reflection on the rest of the department. It is with respect to style and philosophy and ethics there. It's been over 2 years since I first heard that we had a lot of federal money to redo the entire streetscape of Chrome Avenue and Washington Avenue with sidewalks, drainage, curbing, lights, and nothing. It's just, for me, we cannot survive under the go along and get along mentality. I think that we would be better served with a manager with a background more in the real world, with a public works background, with an engineering background, for example. They can dig in, and so we don't have to send things, outside to consultants and spend money. Things can be done more quickly and I think more proactively rather than reactively. I spoke to the manager early this week, and we had some extensive conversations, and I don't think either one of us want to air any dirty laundry or get into a public spitting contest. This is just it's my business decision. It's my position. I'm one vote, but if we are going to hire a new leader and take a little stronger and different direction, this is the first step that we have to take. And this is no disrespect to Jerry's 30-plus years of service to the community and in many other positions. He was here while the wind was still blowing after Hurricane Andrew and didn't go on to other jobs. He stayed here. And if you go back and you read the minutes or at least listen to the tapes when, as a non-agenda item late one night, his hiring as a city manager was proposed, I expressed then that, not everybody's the top Madonna. There's good second fiddles. I think we need a different a different top banana, if you will. And that's just where I'm coming from. Um, there's just, for me, in a working relationship, there's just too much gap. We don't have forever here, and we're on the cusp of being just Homestead or being really great Homestead. And I'm hopeful that we can make that change, and can only do so with new management. So, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's what I've got right now. Council?
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, Councilwoman Avila?
My concerns, they fall along the lines of just the amount of projects that I have worked on since 2020 when I was appointed, and now, 4 years later, I've had extensive experience working with staff when it was Kate McCaffrey, and then now under Jerry Estrada, and I haven't had an experience that would, trigger concern for a dismissal of a position like this. I mean, yes, I've had to follow up on items. I've had to call and say, hey, we need to keep painting the things on the light poles on District 5, and those are definitely not top of the priority on the list of things that we need to get done. But from being able to come here as a council member and have an idea and it come to fruition, it takes expertise, it takes talent, and this is talent we have, and we have it now. And I'm in fear of not being able to continue to do the good work that I want to do, and that my community wants me to continue to do if we change management. I've got projects in Waterstone. We do work in the nonprofit sector. Tonight, we just unloaded a massive amount of tasks for staff to work on, for Jerry to lead on, and it just seems, like we're going to be putting ourselves in a position where we're going to halt a lot of progress. So, is there anything? And I want to trust you, Mayor. I want to be able to continue to work alongside you. I think from day one, I have always wanted to enjoy working on the dais with my colleagues. And of course not, we don't always agree on everything, but in something like this, I want us to be unified and be able to work together with a manager that we all respect and that we all feel respected by. And so maybe there needs to be some grace issued or applied in the matter, but is there anything that you can think of that Jerry can do now to win your confidence back? I mean, if you name it.
No.
No?
No. He was in the room most of the time during my first 2 years in office with Manager McCaffrey. He's known my perspective on a one-on-one basis. We spend a lot of time together on a weekly basis. And it's a personality thing. I just don't look, probably from your perspective, and I've heard, sometimes you just can't change. Some things are ingrained, and I've tried to adjust. But to answer your question, it's as much about unqualified and inefficient staff that he refuses to hold accountable or move away from as it is the manager. And we've got to have someone, I feel, you've got to have across the board staff that's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and energetic and enthusiastic about coming to work every day. Let me give you an example. We talked about in one of our most recent conversations about the transitioning of code enforcement into its own department with its own director. And the manager shared with me that he and his staff had spoken with two folks who work for the city now who declined the position based upon the uncertainty as to whether or not Jerry was going to be the manager. So for me, I interpret that as they know that there's leeway, there's the ability to loaf on the job, that there's no accountability, there's no demand for excellence. Because if you want to be the code enforcement director and do your job, and if you're in this room, I'm sorry, it shouldn't matter who the city manager is. You should be excited to do that job and not have taking that job conditioned upon knowing that your friend, the manager, is going to continue to be the manager. So for me, that's the most latest example that I can give you that I have no confidence that things are going to go forward expeditiously under this manager. And, you know, a lot of us are in our final years here. We want to build things. We want to do good things. We want to leave a legacy of progress. And based upon my last 2 years with this manager, with all due respect, I do not have confidence that we're going to accomplish anything. I fail to understand, for example, why the city of Cutler Bay can build a city hall and a huge community park for $37 million, yet the price tag for our sports complex has grown from $50 million to $75 million, and they don't bat an eye about that. Where's the thought of treating it like it's your money and finding a way to value engineer and get something done? They seem to be kind of numb to the real world of money and numbers. There's just examples that I find every day that, well, it's about trust. Mr. Estrada once shared with me when we were having a conversation about some of his assistant city managers and department directors, and he said, it's a matter of trust, that I trust them, okay, and I can respect that and appreciate that. Well, if I use that same template, I have no trust that we're going to go forward efficiently and expeditiously in this city with a manager and some of the staff that we have now. And it's time to partially wipe the slate clean and try a different angle. Council, pardon? We can take public comment, yes. I want to give council a chance. Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And first off, you know, you want to say this is not personal, but you take it personal. I get it. But I have some of the same concerns. Staff has recently provided more input than they have in the past. I'm not here to have a out-and-out, you know, rough end match with you, Mr. Manager. I like you personally. I think you're a great guy. I just don't think you have the right tool pouch to continue in this endeavor. The police officers here have a belt on. They have their handcuffs. They have all the tools they need to perform their duties. I don't think you have that within your staff. Let's go back to 2.5 years ago when a late-night conversation, your name was forced upon us, and I held you up for a week because I didn't have a chance to chat with you. I don't think our chat at that time really covered the entire basis of what my vision was for the city, but I don't think your your vision at that time has come to fruition yet either. We talked about contracts tonight. I've always been against contracts from day one. I know somebody in your position needs a little of that clarity and that little comfortableness to be there. And I get other individuals wanting to have somebody that they know in a position. But I can tell you, change is not always bad. If you're worrying about your job, then you're not doing your job. If you're doing your job, you have nothing to worry about. That's how I look at it. Coming back to accountability, we have yet to have a management review meeting with you. We have been unable to host a quorum so we can have that. Do you do annual reviews on your employees? I worked in the private sector for 30 years. I had an annual review every year. And I didn't worry about keeping my job because I went in and did my job. I think it's important that we as a body have that opportunity to sit down with you as a group, collective group in a sunshine meeting, be it pared down, and have those discussions with you. And we have not been able to do that. I don't know what everybody's thought is here of your daily activities. We've had some items that have lingered on for a couple of years now where nothing has been done. The time frame for a lot of these issues just is not timely. As I stated before, I like you personally, but it's time for somebody with a new vision to come to this city and build it for the future. I give you all the accolades for your 30-plus years of service, but it's time for change. I get the uneasiness of all the employees in here. But like I stated before, if you're doing your job, you don't have anything to worry about. I'll hold there for now.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Well said.
Mayor, can I just add?
Yes, Councilwoman.
Thank you. I hear everything that's being said. I would love the opportunity to have that meeting and review and be able to hear, Sean, Vice Mayor's list of items, Mayor's list of items, Larry's list of items, Councilwoman Bailey's list of items, Councilman Roth's list of items, and hear what's still pending, what's not completed, or what was a home run, what was really not, what really didn't work and come to fruition, and we haven't had that opportunity. I do recall at least there was one meeting requested to do a review, and we couldn't make quorum, but I don't recall more being requested and not being able to make quorum. I do recall, conversations about giving staff 90 days to get to know new council members and to clean up, the community, or to try to check off as many boxes that were not checked off. But we're not at the 90-day mark yet. So, Mayor, is there an opportunity to let staff finish out their 90-day transition period and then revisit this item? Because it does feel like we're having the judgment prematurely. And it just seems, if we're going to do something like this, let's try to be as respectful as possible in the process, and let's give them their full 90 days to try to make the best impact as possible. I think it's respectful to Councilman Davis, Councilman Clemente, Carnival, to give them the full opportunity to get to know staff the way that at least three of us on this dais has been able to get to know them, and then make a decision for themselves. And maybe, I'll be praying every night. Maybe there will be something that might change your opinion about Jerry and staff. And maybe there might be something that'll change Jerry and, staff's mind about whatever employees that are in question. There is still more time to try to fix this for the sake of continuing the progress that we have started. We have done so much since 2020, in a time where there was a world pandemic. We have done a ton. and it just seems like, you know, we're gonna go backwards. But I don't know. I'm trying to reason in my mind why this makes sense. And if, you know, and if it doesn't work out, I look forward to working with, you know, with my colleagues to find the right fit. But I just don't feel like we've allowed the process to do what it's meant to do.
Yeah. And to address your question, and you're absolutely correct. There was that discussion about the 90 days, and there's that 90-day cooling off period, moratorium period. Today's January 24th. The 90 days expires on February 5th. So that's 12 days. The action tonight is preliminary in nature, but it's required under his employment agreement. Miracles can happen. We have the vote tonight. We will have a final vote. I have called and noticed the special call for February 6th for an actual vote of termination. That's the 91st day. So if the manager and his staff can pull a rabbit out of their hat for our 2 new members in the next 12 days, God bless them. If not, we'll go forward if there is an affirmative vote tonight. We open the floor for public comment. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. My name is Reginald Joseph, Pastor Reginald Joseph, 2480 Southeast 5th Court in Northgate Village. I'm the ex-president of the Homestead Pastor Association and a current member of that community as well. I have a few questions and then some comment on city manager issue here. First, when is, I don't have to get the answers, but you can discuss it. When will be the deadline or will be the ending of his contract, current contract, as of now?
About a year from now.
A year from now.
Correct.
That means January 2025?
Correct.
Okay. So if it will be in January 2025, how much is that going to cost the city to change the city manager now as opposing to let him finish his contract next year? I've heard this question of changing or replacing our city manager since last year. It's not a new item that I'm hearing because I've heard it in campaign. I've heard it many times starting September, October. So it's not a new issue. So I think a city staff is the reflection of the city council. And I truly believe that if there's some changes that needs to be brought into the city.
I disagree.
No, hold on.
Okay.
That's what I believe. And I believe that as we are crowning the city as the city council, mayor, vice mayor, and council, there's a lot of things that can be brought into the city through the city manager as being imposed by the city council. I know that the city manager has a lot of power, but I truly believe that there's a lot of things that can be done as opposing to change the city manager right now, and then just because we having personality differences, like I'm hearing now, I'm hearing there's a lack of trust, but the city has gone from afar, and we have come to this place right now, and there's a lot we can do still with the staff. I truly believe in the staff of City of Homestead, and I believe that they're doing a great job, and they can continue to be better under your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Greetings again, everyone. Councilwoman Avila, I could not have said it better when it comes to the appeal on what I think is right in this moment. I think back in November, we spoke the same language in regards to fair and due process of the gentleman. And I said then, I don't know him personally, but I do believe in the right thing to do. And if that 90-day process is something that can extend to what the pastor just said, going into another year of a contract, that would be phenomenal, because one of the things I've heard of, and this is hearsay, I don't know him personally, is that when it comes to diversity and equity and inclusion, that the current staff has been happy in this administration. I know that because as a black man, and I talk to people of the community, it means something for the community to trust someone that is not only doing the job, as Councilwoman Avila said, but also what it means to the makeup of this city. So I think that is very important. And I'm not even speaking on the behalf of NAACP right now. I'm going to leave that to Harold Ford. I just want to speak personally on what is the right thing to do. And so I won't say much, but what matters most, I like to keep a good eye on this. And I'm going along the same line as Avila. I hope that you guys, really can get a chance to know what the process is and what's been going on. And at the time of any voting, that you vote correctly for the right thing to do. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Joe Cordino, and I want to give you a little bit of my perspective as a staff member. I'm a bit of an anomaly in the sense that I'm not an employee of the city, I'm a consultant. I've worked with Jerry for about a decade and a half on some of the things we've done. On the other side of it, I've worked for the majority of cities between Palm Beach and Key West. And I can tell you that Jerry is one of the top city managers that you'll find out there. As a staff member, working in the municipalities can be quite difficult. And Jerry's provided us as staff with the leadership to get up and kind of get to work every day and do the difficult things that we have to do. And it's really critical to us as staff to have somebody with that leadership capability. I mean, he's got character, he's consistent in his decision-making, he's got a lot of courage, he does a lot of what he does for us. I know that, some things in these cities don't work as well as they should, but I think in Homestead, if you compare it with a lot of the cities out there, I mean, it really does work well. I'm proud to have worked with him. I want you to consider that. I understand your role as elected officials. I understand the need for change and how that can be beneficial. But from the staff's perspective, and I know a lot of us would be intimidated to get up here and speak on behalf of a great leader. I think Jerry's a great leader, and he's done wonderful things for the city. And I thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, Mayor Cordino.
Brandy Ramirez, 2231 Southeast First Street. Like several said, it's nothing personal. We need a better homestead. Residents voted for people that would be bringing that change. So thank you, Mayor, for bringing this forward to talk to this evening in front of public. Transparency. But let's all be honest here. I've talked to several employees in different departments of City of Homestead, including the police department. Many are looking for this change. They're looking forward for new leadership. They know and believe in the new mayor and council. People who are stepping up to their positions and making that change. It's not easy. Change is good sometimes. We're looking forward to that change. If we have a city manager that is allowing people to be hired that are not city residents, that have backgrounds, that's not good for us. If there's consultants, we shouldn't have consultants. We should have employees, city residents of Homestead. That's what we are assured by this mayor and council here. I hope that we look forward to seeing that happen. It's nothing personal. It's about what we want for a better Homestead. And I think tonight, when we see these votes happen, we're finally going to get that. But please know that the community, employees of City of Homestead, including employees that are inside of Homestead Police Department, are ready and looking forward for this change. We have confidence in our mayor and council to do what's right. And I think tonight you are doing that. You're making it in front of all the employees here, in front of the city manager. You're giving a notice. You're going to give the proper days or amount of time that it's going to be a good transition. And I hope that the city manager and his staff work together with you guys to make that transition smooth. So we look forward to it. From the residents of Homestead and employees are looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Hannibal Burton, 2251 Southeast 25th Avenue, Chair of Miami-Dade Economic Advocacy Trust, Board Member of South Dade Connections, and member of NAACP South Dade Chapter, as well as concerned Homestead resident. I heard personality. I heard fear for employment. I heard others say that they know what's happening inside of the city of Homestead in terms of staff. I also was in the meeting in November when you all sat and said, we're going to look at this 90 days, give everyone on the dais an opportunity to become familiar with not just Jerry Estrada, but the employees and staff within the city so that they have some knowledge of what's actually going on. You step into a courtroom, you have a defense attorney, you have a prosecutor. They both stand in front of the same judge. They both are dealing with the same variables in that courtroom, yet they have highly different perspectives and protocols in how they handle their side of the case. And they don't know what the other one is thinking or knows until they've actually been on that side of the courtroom as that individual. I don't know Jerry Estrada personally. I had to try to find out about Jerry in the last 6 months and actually get a feel for what's going on. And I can sit here and tell you city employees want change or people on the force want change. That would depend on who I was talking to. Okay? I implore you as a council, as a whole, to one, stand by what you put in motion and said last year, and to actually give this a fair process. And then also, I think there needs to be a layout of what the alternatives are if this does come to fruition. Because now you're looking at a situation where you're changing the variables. So who's changing the variables and who's operating what? You said it was personality. Personality means personal. You said you don't really care for Chief Roll. We know there's a direct link there. This whole situation needs to be looked at from top to bottom, left to right. And those that aren't familiar with whatever's going on need to be allowed to have that opportunity. And then I think, as Councilwoman Avila has said, then you should be able to look at this and make some decisions and come to it as a group. Because you're saying you haven't sat down and had a review with this man. I don't think any of us in here that are employed have gone through a year without having an evaluation. And then if that's the case, then how does that happen? Is it his fault that he didn't get the evaluation? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may?
Let me see if there's any more public comment. Yes, you're next.
Good evening. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Councilman, Councilwoman, I can't go home tonight in good conscience and not tell you in direct terms, I am city staff. This face is city staff. I love my job. I come here every day to do good work for the people and the residents and the businesses in this city. And I am thankful that I could work for a good manager. I've worked for 3 managers in this city. I've had the support of all 3 of them. I've had the support of the people that sit on this dais. And I'm happy to come to work every day. Since November, it's been tough. It's been tough because the message out there to the public is go attack staff. And I don't appreciate that personally. I'm proud of what I do. I stand by my ethics, my morals, and I come here every day to do good work. And I feel like I'm getting the support of the manager, my coworkers, my bosses. I don't have the support of the elected officials to do the good work. Do the right thing, respect the position, respect the man. That's not an easy job, and it's not a job any of you, I think, would sign on for. But we do the good work every day. I'm in support of this manager.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hoffman.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you.
No, let's let her finish her thought and we'll come back to you.
Thank you.
Just hang right there.
Thank you for your patience, and I've spoken a lot tonight. So I do appreciate the time. You know, Mayor, I respect your tenure in previous years and previous councils, and as well, Vice Mayor. I want to assure you that my goal here is not to vote in contradiction or to vote in favor of a friend or to vote for any perceived preference. But I encourage you to defer this notice for the 12 days. You can still give the notice on the day of our special meeting. And if Jerry doesn't satisfy significant enough concerns, then I will vote in favor. I will vote in favor to give the notice. But I just feel strongly enough about the perception of already making the decision without giving the opportunity. It's like already being proven guilty without the trial. And there's also the option to just not renew the contract. We don't necessarily have to not renew and cancel and put in a temporary manager to then try to create the fate of our city while we search for another man. This is just the chaos that ensues. I've been through management changes, not on the city level, but in the private sector and in association levels. When you have new management come in, all the new management does is blame the old management for everything that goes wrong in the transition of the new management and new administration coming in. So prepare yourself for that. Nothing's going to get better right away. And I never heard Jerry blame anybody for anything. When he took over that position, he never blamed, we blamed COVID for a lot of stuff. I think we all blamed COVID for a lot of stuff, but when we didn't have garbage getting picked up, we just did not have enough garbage cans. That wasn't a blame on, or enough garbage trucks rather. It wasn't to blame past administration for not planning properly. If anything, we're the ones to blame for not charging enough money to be able to buy enough garbage trucks and buy enough of the resources we need to have. We didn't raise rates forevermore, but finally we are, and that's thanks to a lot of the guidance. I'm not happy with the way our community looks. The city of Homestead looks like trash when you get off an exit 2, and when you get off of Speedway, it looks like trash. Our bus stops are ridden with weeds and trash and vagrants, and you know, the issue that came up, or that the video that's being circulated, that's not that situation unfortunately happens all the time. Councilman Davis had a meeting about this very same issue. That's a constant thing. We've brought up the homeless issue in the city. There are things that Jerry can control, and there are things that he cannot control, but we have to be real with the facts on what is within the control of the dais and the city manager and staff. I don't know if Jerry is able to give any reassurances or be able to change your minds. And I agree, Mayor, that sports complex, it is way too expensive. But let us also be part of the solution of trying to figure out how to cut those costs. I don't know if getting a different city manager is going to change the cost of creating the sports complex, but I mean, I almost don't want to do it until we can figure out a cheaper way to do it. It's really expensive, but we are getting a lot of grants. Speaking of grants, there's a lot of grants out there that I hear about that, you know, we should be able to tap into, and maybe we're not. But that annual review should have happened, and I blame myself for not being available for that meeting. But I don't recall being offered another opportunity to do a review. And so I blame myself for not being the one to say, hey, we need to do a review, and bringing it up. But I respectfully ask for Councilman, Mayor, Vice Mayor to bring your notice on day 91. Let's just give a little bit more grace here. I know you've given a lot of grace, Mayor. We voted
I feel as though I have.
You have. We voted to approve Jerry's contract, I think at midnight. That was not the right thing to do. In retrospect, and I was a young councilwoman. I was a young councilwoman at the time. And so I can tell you that I can relate to a lot of the pressure that the new councilman might feel, because you need to follow a lead. It's not that you want to, you have to follow a lead. And so we do, but we do the best that we can with the information we have at the time. I don't regret the decision I made, but I do regret how it was done. And I want to offer you that experience to try to save you from having that same regret. So I'll rest with that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, and council members. I appreciate the councilwoman's regards. I'm sorry, my name is Carol Jackson. I'm with the South Dade NAACP, and I'm here because many of our officers, our members, and our constituents are members and residents of the city of Homestead. Our concern is, deep concern, is of the reported targeting of not only people with contracts, but also staff without contracts. I've been a member of this community, not Homestead. I've never lived in Homestead, but I've been a member of the South Dade community for the past 51 years. And I remember Homestead very, very well from my first visit when I was in junior high school. So we don't want to have targeted people targeted for dismissal. It doesn't do anything good for the city of Homestead. It doesn't help you get good staff, because if people without contracts see what happens to the people with contracts, they're not going to feel secure. If you were a government employee and you had, employee reviews every year, it's because you had to. It's part of the contract. They have to do it. You have to do that with everyone. Your constituents want good service, but they also want people to be treated fairly. So as an organization, the NAACP, that is dedicated to promoting fairness and equality and equity in all areas of public life, not only for minorities, but for everyone, we urge the City of Homestead to ensure that all employees are treated fairly and without prejudice. We're also concerned that the mayor already has the votes for this, and so we are concerned about possible violations of the Sunshine Law. Thank you.
Please don't turn your back and walk away after making allegations of criminal activity. I
said
I
potential.
invite you,
I said potential.
okay, I invite you, it's an inference. And you're parroting the letter that Mr. Ford delivered a couple of days ago. I invite you, I encourage you, I will take you to the state's attorney's office and let you lay out your case for a Sunshine Law violation. I welcome that scrutiny because it's funny that of all the lopsided votes that have happened all of these many years, your organization that it has accused me of race-based targeting without justification, your organization is now singling out this one vote out of thousands that have been taken over the last 4 years as a potential Sunshine Law violation. Your organization, by virtue of the letter and your comments here tonight, have zero credibility with me when you stand here and make allegations, unfounded allegations of criminal activity. You do realize that the violation of Sunshine Law is punishable not only by a fine and removal of office, but also by jail time. And as I've told folks in the past, I invite you and I welcome the scrutiny. That is totally unfounded and off base in this discussion tonight.
Sir, are you saying that you're going to refer me to the state's attorney's office?
No, I'm saying I welcome you to go to the state's attorney's office and ask them to scrutinize me, scrutinize this council, and scrutinize those who may not vote in a way that you agree with. I'm not talking about referring you. I'm talking about you're making allegations, go back them up. You just can't say that kind of stuff.
I have an opinion. We have an opinion. We have a right to voice it.
So your opinion is we're engaged in criminal activity. Okay. So let's put that on the record. An officer of the South Dade branch of the NAACP is of the opinion that the members of this council who may vote to give the manager notice have somehow been engaged in violation of the Sunshine Laws. That's what was said here. So let's be real clear as to what those of us who may vote in favor of this item under my business may be accused of. And again, I invite you to run downtown and see Ms. Fernandez-Rundle first thing in the morning. I'll take you there. Is there any further public comment? You've had your opportunity, sir? Yes, Mr. Brea?
Good evening. Julio Brea, Director of Public Works, City Engineer. I just wanted to, just mirror some of the statements that have been made by staff regarding Jerry Estrada and staff in general. Just to give you some background, I've been with the city, working with the city for close to 30 years now, 20 of them as an employee, before that as a consultant. And I do believe that consultants help out the city. You know, staff cannot do everything that requires, action immediately. We need staff we need contractors and consultants to do that for us. For instance, I've been here for 20 years as a staff member. I've been under 6 mayors and I think 6 city managers. I was a city manager for a little while also as an interim city manager. So I see the issues, right? I see the questions, right? And I see the hard decision that this is for everybody. But just from my point of view, again, I worked under 6 different city managers. I felt that I was respected by all of them and that my work showed that, right? Like I always say, respect is earned, it's not something that's given to you. So, and I think that also speaks to the rest of the staff as well. We come here to work, and again, I came from the private industry to the public sector. Most people do it the other way. I did it, this way. And a lot of people would ask me, why are you going to work for government when, the amount of money that's out there, et cetera? Can I get some extension? I'm a man of few words, but, I got to make up for all the other times. So anyways, so people would always ask me, why are you going into government? You can make so much money outside, et cetera, and this and that. And the thing is, because this is what we love to do. I mean, we love to work for the citizens. And when I get a call, and I get it, most of the calls we get are always complaints. You never get like a good boy, you did a great job. But when you get that call, when somebody says, hey, we appreciate what you guys did, your staff was underwater, water up to here, trying to fix a water line, et cetera. Those things, we take pride in that. And we take pride in working for a city manager like Jerry because he takes pride in the work that he does as well. And we could name countless of things, that we've done here that are good. Yeah, we're not all perfect. I'm not perfect. There's been issues, you learn from them and you hope you don't do them again, right? That's the whole process. So just in closing, I just want to say that I respect Jerry as a city manager. Like I said, I've been through a lot of them, and I could say that for some and not others, but with him, I respect what he's done, and I know that he has respect for what we do and the sacrifices that we've, taken on to work for a government and to be always scrutinized and to be always, look like the bad guy, et cetera. And we do it with pride. We do it with pride. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brea. Any further public comment? All right. Councilman Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to make a short comment. I've been taking my time listening to everyone's comments of our council, our citizens, our city workers, and I've listened very carefully. And then I get to hear as well that as a new guy, I'm thought that I need some kind of a lead in my decision making, and now an expression of my potential or our city council's potential violation of the Sunshine Act. As for me, let me tell you, I've been around the block. I've been in tougher situations than this. I have to say that I've also talked with a lot of our citizens during our election period. And I have to say, though, after careful consideration of all those items, I have to say that I support Mayor Losner in this action. I spoke with the city manager early on. We had a very nice conversation, correct? One-on-one in the office. And, who you are, who are you, what do you do? And, it was a delightful conversation. But what was I hearing the whole time? Grestis this, Bell that. Whatever, reaching back. There was no vision of this is where we're going to be. I'm the city manager, and this is where we're going to lead this city to be. We've talked a lot about various issues tonight. The sports complex, grant money, impact fees for roads, lack of, we haven't bring it up tonight, but it came up before, lack of standard operating procedure. The answer is always, that's the way it's always been done. That's the way Grestis did it, what have you. As for the impact fees for the roads, I was one of those guys that was stuck on Campbell Drive when they had that leak at just before Christmas, when they had that leak at the gas station. And there was nowhere to go because our roads have never been improved for the number of people. Once that artery shut down, there was nowhere to go because all the adjoining roads have never been improved. The things that we're listing didn't happen overnight. And although I hear my colleagues say, wait another 12 days, whatever, they didn't happen overnight and they're not going to get fixed overnight. But they should have been actioned. And I have to say that they were not, okay? I think it's time for change. I think that without angst, without any ill will, but I have to say that I think it's time for change, and I think it's time for a new vision and a new leadership in the city manager position. And as for me, ma'am, I just must say that those types of words like potential sunshine violation, that's undignified of a person with your caliber of experience and reputation in the city, within our community. That is undignified stuff. And at that point, I mirror the mayor. You drop my name all you want with Fernandez Rundle. You have my permission, you have my encouragement to do that. But by God, don't make that inference that I conduct myself in an unprofessional manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Davis. Councilman Roth, would you like to close it out? Oh, okay. No, go ahead.
I'll go last, like always. At least I've been afforded that opportunity. So yeah, there's been a lot said tonight. With retrospect, I do want to clear up how Jerry actually was presented to this council and how this council unanimously voted for Jerry to be in that position. It was a late night that I brought the idea of preparing a contract. It wasn't that night that we voted for Jerry's contract. Everyone had ample time to review the contract and not make a hasty decision to name Jerry as the next city manager. And again, it was a unanimous vote. The current mayor voted for him. The current vice mayor voted for him, along with Avila, Bailey, myself, and the previous people that were here. So that has changed tonight. That can't happen anymore in that process. But to say that Jerry was forced upon this dais in this city is a false statement. Everyone had an opportunity to review and vote yes or no that night. With that being said, sometimes leadership reflects attitude. And I think that us as leaders up here, excluding Councilman Clemente Cannibal and Mr. Davis, we failed to collectively come together and sit with the manager and air our differences. Maybe, I think there was one attempt to put something together for that, but there again, we as leaders up here failed to make that happen. I've known Jerry for, 25 years. I've gone through the different things with what my job does and things that I do. I've never met someone that was as passionate, as professional as Jerry is. Even during this last 90 days, or 87 days, whatever we're at today, Jerry has maintained a love for the city, for his staff, for the police department, for all department heads, and he's never wavered one time on helping any of us that reached out to him for any situation that we needed to cure in the city. He's never not called me back. He's always been responsive. It's hard for me to understand, why we're at this point. I understand change is good. I see the writing on the wall tonight. I know that shortly Jerry's not going to be here anymore. I see that. And we have to come to the reality of that as well. In the 100+ years the city has been in existence, managers come, council comes, mayors come and go. Chief, you've been a blessing to this city. You've been here longer than I have been here. You've been the chief for 20+ years. Colonel, likewise, I've known you 30 years. And the one thing I can say about my relationships with anybody in this room is I've never had lunch, never had a beer, never socialized, and I've always kept my relationship professional with all of these individuals. So it's not, to me, about is Jerry a good manager or not? It's about stability within the city. It's about giving our employees, as we are the leaders elected to run this city, but what a lot of people don't know is we don't run the city. None of us up here can give any direction to anybody on staff. That's the manager's responsibility. The writing's on the wall. Change will come. And all of you that work for the city now, you'll go on, you continue to do your jobs with the city of Homestead. You go on to show your bosses, your supervisors, your council, your mayor. As I love the city of Homestead, I know you all do too. I wish we could have more time. I think Jerry's done an extremely good job. He's come a long way in 2 years. We had a lot of issues in between with COVID and things and this and that. I certainly hope that making a change will be a good positive thing for the city if that's where it goes. And I think my final comment's going to be is, everyone's spoken about Jerry, and the mayor's spoken about, his wishes to, terminate Jerry's contract, and I have to respect, that as well. But I haven't heard anything about what's next. Who's going to be the next manager or interim manager? The mayor doesn't get to make that decision on his own. He may make some suggestions on who that may be, but we of a dais up here get to make that decision. And that's going to be a very important decision for us going forward. If Jerry is terminated on February the 5th or 6th, whichever day it is, I haven't been shown a plan, who's going to do what, how's it going to be. And I talked about stabilization. I think somebody else mentioned, chaotic situations happening. I don't believe it's going to be chaotic. I believe our staffs are very professional and they're going to carry on their duties. But I still haven't heard how we're going to, what's the next step? If Jerry is terminated next week or whenever, how many weeks he's got, but what is the next thing we do? We just don't have a city manager? I just don't understand that process.
Let me chime in here if I could. By virtue of his contract, the manager is entitled to remain on the payroll and in place for a period of time. And, you know, I don't know if anything has changed since our conversation earlier in the week, but he and I have an agreement that following, you know, in the coming day or so after the vote tonight, that we will sit down and talk about his aiding in the transition, that his cooperation with the next manager. Jerry, you know, look, we can all agree, and I'll say Jerry is not the kind of person that is going to light a match and walk out of his office. That's not going to be the case. He will, I believe, based on our conversations, be there to be a professional and courteous and integral part of a transition. Once we take the vote tonight, I have provided the city clerk with a package of information about an individual I have met with extensively. And Councilman Roth, you are right. The mayor has very little power on his or her own. You get to sign proclamations like we gave out tonight, you get to call special call meetings, but beyond that, you know, we all know this, and for the public and for the staff, and contrary to the narratives that have been spun out there by, I believe, city employees on city time trying to motivate the downtown business owners, mayor's just one vote of 7. And you're absolutely right. I have a package of information that I'm going to ask the clerk to share with you all regarding my perspective as to how the transition could work, and giving you all the information you need to make contact with the person I've had extensive meetings with. And I also welcome each of you to bring candidates forward to be named as city manager. I believe that this transition can occur without an interim or temporary manager, so to speak. So this is not a situation where, this is not a Speaker of the House of Representatives situation where a bunch of folks decided to fire the one they had with no plan of who they were going to have as the next one. I have thought that through, and I welcome the input of each and every one of you, and you'll have the opportunity to know what I know, and then we've got you know, time between now and the 6th that, you know, the attorneys and I have spoken at length, and Jerry and I have spoken, and I'm confident that we'll come in with, if tonight's vote and the vote on the 6th proceeds with a clear plan of transition, that this narrative of chaos and confusion and a rudderless ship is just not accurate. So that's my response, and those concerns are very valid, Councilman Roth. I agree with you that it's not just about taking this action; it's about what comes next. And I am, for one, am not unmindful of that.
Okay. So, without disclosing any information about this applicant, or not applicant, this is somebody that you've actually
Correct.
gone out to speak to. In the past, you've mentioned doing national searches to bring in talent. So, what would be the process if the decision is made to terminate Jerry's contract? And somebody asked a question earlier about what's it going to cost the city? Does anybody know what it's going to cost the city to terminate Jerry early?
We're clarifying those numbers, yes.
Approximately,
and this is a function of a contract that we unanimously approved in round numbers, $300,000.
Okay.
But I have to ask myself, what is the cost to the city of not taking this action?
Okay. So
that's where I come from.
That's fine. I understand. So the process of doing a national search for a new city manager would be what in your mind? How would that work? Because just to bring one person to talk to is not, I don't think, adequate for not for me, for sure.
It was
but-
adequate when you made the motion for Jerry. It
But
was
you-
adequate
but
when
everybody-
Steve
everybody
when
mo-
Steve Shelley in the middle of the night threw Kate McCaffrey at us.
Right.
And we see how those two items have worked. And it's laid out in my memorandum to each one of you. I don't think that we have the luxury of time to do a national search. I believe there's local talent, but again, I'm going to come back to, I'm one vote in my belief. If 4 of you decide to do a national search and want to spend that time and money, so be it.
Well, it goes back to what you said about the cost to eliminate the manager, too. I mean, we are going to spend that kind of money to eliminate him, but we're not going to spend the money to adequately vet a new city manager that may come from a national search. So I get it. We have talent in the area as well. I get that.
Yeah.
But I think we shortchange ourselves if we simply say we're going to go with one prospect.
No, that's for the majority to decide, and I don't
I
think
get
we
it.
ought to engage in the spitting contest.
I get it.
It's going to be what it's going to be, and the chips are going to fall where they fall.
I agree with you 100%. Thank you for my time.
Thank you. Thank you, though, Councilman Roth. Very, very valid and important points.
Mayor?
If there's nothing okay, Councilwoman?
Thank you. Just a few comments additional. Thank you, Councilman Roth, for clarifying that it was a unanimous vote. It's just, in past meetings and so long ago, it obviously was a sting big enough to continue to be brought up. But it was unanimous for good reason. I respectfully ask, Mayor, that you just defer it for the 12 days. Let's see what comes of that. And I respect you for defending yourself. I respect you for defending yourself against accusations that were made tonight. And I'm watching you, and I look to you for that leadership, because if that were to happen to me, I'm probably going to echo the same words. And Councilman Davis, when I made the remarks earlier about needing a leader, the mayor is my mayor. He is the mayor of the city of Homestead, and I want to have a leader. We need that. And I say that respectfully, so I meant no disrespect. So I want to clarify that. And I think acknowledging that there is a leader and being able to be led by that individual, that's a humble quality that I respect from anybody here. The way that our police officers are led by the chief, the way that our staff is led by our city manager, that's a quality. I don't think any less of our staff members for respecting their leader and looking to them. We yell at Julio Brea a lot. We try not to yell at Ms. Blanco too much. We need her to approve our application. She yells back. But, and they still smile and come to work and continue to take the beatings voluntarily. And they don't go working for the county and other places because Jerry helps lick their wounds. That's a bad image. I don't want you guys to think about that. But he helps them recover from the damage of working for the city of Homestead. So things can improve. I absolutely agree. I beg that you try to allow us the additional grace period to fulfill the 90-day period, to give Jerry any extra benefit of the doubt, to work with you, to work with Vice Mayor, to work with our council members, to try to get to a resolution. And I'll rest there. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Chief? Sure. Long night.
Yeah, and first of all, good afternoon again. I don't never say that much about anything. I just do my job. And I just want to say to you all tonight that everyone in this room here tonight that's a city employee supports the Jerry Estrada. Every person in this room, city employee. I don't know whether you all know us that well or not, but we all bust our butt every day to do the best job in the city of Homestead. Everybody come to work to do their job. They listen to Jerry. They try to do the best they can. But I want to back up a little bit, because I'm not here to plug myself. I've done it all. More than half my career, making Homestead a better place to live. And I'm not going to sit here and beg for a job. I'm not going to even, promote myself. I'm not about that. My daddy told me before he died, your work speaks for itself. It's supposed to. Jerry has a hard job, okay? Very hard job. And the job is, and maybe y'all didn't think about it or not, maybe you have, the worst way to become a failure is to try to make everybody happy. You got 7 people on this council. It's hard to do that. Everybody got their own ideas about what they want done. And this guy is sitting here pretty much, I guess, playing runaround because he don't know what exactly everybody wants. And maybe he does. Can I keep speaking? And maybe he do. But like I told Councilman Fletcher, the way I run my staff, first of all, people that came in tonight and been coming here for years and everything, I would not stoop that low to make my guys come here to support me. I got too much self-pride, respect, and dignity to stoop that low like that. That's not me. And any time that somebody thinks that I can't fulfill my job, I walk out the door. I'm not here for a paycheck. I was born and raised in this town. I've been here all my life. I've seen all kind of things happen here. I could have gone anywhere back in 1980 when I became a police officer. I stayed here. You know why? Because I thought I could make a difference. And guess what? 40-something years later, I have. Look where we were when I walked in the door as a patrolman, and look where I am now. And look at this city of 1980 when I walked in the door, and look where this city is now. It's nobody in the state of Florida is afraid to come in Homestead to live, work, and do business. Not one person. That's a fact. The little things people said, and I'm gonna get back to Jerry in a minute. The little people said about, the chief role, he support, he don't deal with the guys that do brutality in the city and everything. I've been doing that since 1998 by myself, taking care of any police officer that did anything I thought was wrong. Because you know why? I saw it as a kid growing up here in Homestead. I saw it as a teenager. I saw what went on in Homestead. You think I'm going to sit in as a police chief and just turn a blind eye to somebody doing something wrong? All you got to do is go back and look at my history in 1998 up until today. That's something that I never accepted and I never will. And people got a problem with that, because I took care of business. But they deserved it. I'm not going to let it happen in this town. Not while I'm here. That's why I stayed so long. Because people ask me to stay here. I never go out to the community and tell them, hey, come and support Chief Rowe. I've never done that. I know my guys probably think I'm crazy because I don't say anything. I don't say, hey, come to the police, come to City Hall and support Chief Rowe. I don't say that. People know what I've done. You know how many lives I've touched in 45 years in this city? A lot of lives. And I thought about it the other day. I said, that's why people come out and support me. I have never done anything wrong in this city other than take care of the babies, the old ladies, and people that can't take care of themselves. I had to make some hard decisions. But you know, going back to Jerry, this man started from the bottom just like I did. Nobody gave him anything. He worked to the top. Why would you do that in the city of Homestead? Stay here 30 years and do all that to be kicked in the butt at the end of the day for making one simple mistake? Come on, let's be real about this, okay? This man deserves a chance like everybody else. Suppose that was somebody that you love, your son, your daughter, okay? Somebody that you genuinely care about, your mother, your father. Would you want to be treated like that after doing 30 years of trying to do the right thing in this community? I watched Jerry. I worked with Jerry. We did some things together that you all won't even imagine took down the people that were doing bad things in this city. They went to jail. He stuck his neck out. And y'all want to get rid of him? I beg the difference. It's wrong. If y'all only knew, I always tell people all the time, a long time ago when they came up with them records, the albums, they had a side 1 and they had a side 2. Everybody heard the side 1. Nobody heard the side 2. Nobody has come to me and asked me anything about myself, about Jerry, about any of these employees, nothing. One thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you the truth. So if you don't want to hear the truth, don't ask me. Vice Mayor Fletcher know how I am. He come to me with things, I tell him the truth. This man deserves a chance. He started from the bottom, he's to the top. I told Vice Mayor Fletcher and I told Councilman Counterball, the way I deal with my guys, if they do something wrong or something I don't like, something I learned a long time ago and being a teacher, you praise in public and you counsel in private. I put them to the side. I said, look, this is what I want you to do. Do it this way. Do it that way. I only get rid of the ones that just create problems year after year after year. Everybody say Chief Rowe got a big heart because he give everybody chances. But I haven't always been the police chief. I came from a little black guy here in Homestead that had to scuffle and do everything in the world to try to get to the top. I grew up in Homestead. I couldn't even live across Maury. That's how bad it was. It didn't bother me then because I thought it was a norm. Can you imagine living like that as a kid? That's why I'm so concerned about these people in this community. Nobody should, while I'm the police chief, nobody should have to worry. People play too many games. I don't get up here and beat myself on the chest and everything, but I'm just sick and tired of hearing all the lies and all the things that have been said that's not the truth. If you want to know the truth, ask me and I'll tell you the truth. Councilman Davis, if Jerry didn't do what you asked him to do, don't kick him in the teeth. Put him to the side in private and help him out. Help him do the right things. Give him a chance to show you what kind of manager he can be. Everybody's not born to be great. You have to get to that point. You know what I'm talking about. You went in the military. You started as a private, and you end up being walking out there being a lieutenant colonel, if I'm not mistaken. You walked that line. Somebody taught you everything that you needed to know. They gave you a chance. That's all we asking you all to do. Councilman Counterball, the same thing. Give him a chance. It's not going to hurt. You know, give him a chance. If you don't work out, then move on, like it did me. 1998, nobody wanted me as police chief in 98. I didn't want the job either. So we were kind of like together on that. But here it is, 26 years later, I'm still the police chief. And I haven't done one thing wrong other than make these people in this city safe. To the point where guys that are incarcerated talk in the jail and tell other guys, If you want to do a crime and sell drugs or do all kind of crazy everything, don't go through Homestead. The criminals are saying that. I'm not asking them to say that. They are saying that. All my guys will tell you the same thing. I weeded out all the bad people. Vice Mayor Fletcher, you know what I did. Was it wrong or was it right? You know what I did. I stopped all the foolishness. I took care of business. I had people that I looked at that helped me and guided me the way to do the right things. But at the same time, I had common sense and I had family members, my dad, mom, and dad, that told me what the right thing to do. I got a job to do. My daddy said, you need to work until you walk out that door, you do your job. Before I got sick last year, Mr. Mayor, I came to work. I didn't call in sick in 40 years. So when people say, nobody don't want to be here, I don't think nobody in the United States never called in sick in 40 years. I love my job. That's why I came and working every day. I felt good taking care of the babies, the old ladies, the old men, people that was less fortunate. I feel good doing that. And I told my guys, if you can't do that, you don't need to be here. Since 1998, since I was police chief, every employee that I hired, dispatcher, admin, police officer, correction officer, code enforcement, everybody in 26 years sat in front of me before I said, yes, you can have a job here. I told them what I wanted. Most of them succeeded, 30 years, and retired, and they're gone. The ones that I brought into the door. And the ones that didn't do that, they're out the door. But I gave them a chance. I didn't just kick them in the butt, after knowing them 15 minutes. You don't do that. That's not the way to treat people. So I can go on and on and on, and I don't like to talk. I like to take care of business. That's what I'm about. But I'm just telling you all, and I've told Vice Mayor and Councilman Cabela, give the man a chance. He shouldn't have to beg for himself. Give him a chance. Mr. Mayor, work with him. Give him an opportunity. Maybe you have and everything, but listen, you don't give up that easy. The thing they said about a female, the same thing you took to get her, do it to keep her. So I'm just saying, some people, it takes a little bit more time. If it's something that he's doing that you all don't like and everything, put him to the side and tell him. Don't just run him out the door. And he said, you need somebody that live in the city and everything. 80% of my department is from the city of Homestead. I've been there. That's why I do what I do. It matters to have people from this community as role models. Jerry don't live in North Dakota. He live in Kendall. That's close enough for me. He's here every day. He's doing the best he can. His staff don't get away with murder because if he did, somebody would tell him. I know I would. Vivian will tell him. I know she'll tell him. I dealt with Vivian before. She'll tell him, hey, tighten up, Jerry. I'm just saying, forget about me. Get this man an opportunity to do what needs to be done in this city. You don't stay on a job that long if you don't care about the community. You don't stay on a job that long.
Thank
You do what everybody else do. You pack your bags up and leave when things get a little hot. And you said, Mr. Mayor, Jerry's gonna go out peacefully and everything. He will. But y'all do the right thing. Come on, do the right thing. That's all we ask. Everybody here right now is like this. And I'm gonna say this real quick and I'm gonna sit down. I've been through too many situations where people have brought their own people in and people who bust their butt and work hard lost their job and couldn't take care of their family. And ended up in a situation that got caught up in politics for no reason. These people are scared for their jobs. Whoever comes in here and takes Jerry's place, I've seen it happen. This is the third time. I've seen it happen. That's what's going to happen. Nobody here feels safe. I got a contract and everything, but guess what? I don't even look at the contract. Because it's like you said, I do my job every day. Come to work, never called sick in 40 years. I come here and bust my butt. My phone never stopped ringing. Thank God they got text messages now. I couldn't sleep at night. I answer my phone. all my guys know what I'm about and everything. I've never sit here and told them, support me, support me, support me. I lead by example. They know what I'm all about. But I'm not going to cut one of them head off. They got to do something mighty bad for me to cut their head off. And I've done that before. After 2 years of watching somebody sit here and try to get somebody killed, you know what I'm talking about. Vice Mayor Fletcher. This man had no more about the police department than anybody on this dais. He know everything I'm saying is the truth. I'm not going to sit here and, like I told you, brag on myself. He know what I'm all about. He's seen my action. I don't play games when it comes down to people's safety and making sure the right thing is being done. I watched my mom and daddy go through that. I'm trying to make a difference. So I'm going to leave.
Thank you, Chief.
You all make the right decision. Give this man a chance, okay? Honestly. That's all we all in this room ask. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I just want to staff who's here in the room, I want to
Mayor?
well, to staff who's in the room who may be concerned, I want to echo the Vice Mayor's comments earlier tonight. I think he hit the nail on the head. If you come to work, you do your job, you have absolutely nothing to worry about, no matter who the manager is. And I've said it publicly before, and it was confirmed to me tonight, and steels my resolve to move forward. That speech shows me who the real manager, who the real person sitting on the throne is, and it's somebody who's not accountable to anybody but the person who holds the title. There's no accountability to us whatsoever. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to get a motion on the floor and then provide Mr. Estrada an opportunity to make any comments he would like to make. So with that, do we have a motion to direct the attorneys to give notice, the preliminary notice of termination effective February 6th, 2024? Do we have that motion? I'll second that motion gladly. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Mr. Estrada?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to take the opportunity to thank the staff that came up and spoke on my behalf. They did not have to do that, and it took a lot of personal courage for them to go ahead and do that. So I've heard a lot of things tonight, and you're right, Mayor, I don't think we should go in for a tit for tat. I respect your comments and your beliefs, though I don't agree with them, okay? Same thing with you, Councilman Fletcher. Now, I've heard tonight, my big negative is that I know the staff. I came up through the trenches. I started here. I think the only lower position I could have started here was emptying out the garbage cans. 31 years from computer operator, programmer, computer manager, general services director, assistant city manager, and manager. And that somehow is some kind of weakness. Oh, you know these people. You know Joe, you know Crystal, you know Kamitra. And so you don't hold them accountable. That's not true. I do hold them accountable. But what I also know is being that I came up through the trenches, what their challenges are. Lack of staffing, lack of funding, being beat up by the public, being beat up by the council. And so I take all of those variables into account. And I act accordingly. My staff is held accountable, Mayor. You're not in my office when there's an issue with a director or an employee. And that's not for you to know. That's what I'm paid for. Whenever I reprimand someone or bring someone to task, that's my responsibility. Big things happen. Hey, I fire a director or get rid of the economic development person. You know about that. But the day-to-day operation, we have over 500 employees here. Okay? And so, once again, the negative that I came through the trenches, that I know these people, that I care about these people. Because this is a family. These people, at the last hurricane, was here, in this building, prepared for after the storm. It was Irma, not Ian, because it missed us, to immediately deploy to take care of our residents, to take care of this community. They are all public servants at heart. You don't stay here 20 years like Joe, right? Crystal, how many years? 25 years. Kamita, not too much. How many years? 7 years. Wendy, I know it's 20-something years. Roxana, you got to be close to 30 years. Okay, sorry, I'm giving away her age. But why are they here? It's a thankless job, but we love it. It's a challenge. You know, I don't know how many people I've had come from the public sector that says two things. My God, I don't know how you guys do it. You don't have money. You don't have the resources, and yet you solve the problems. It's like I've never seen anything. I've had guys that ran waste management, South Regional, literally tell me that. The other thing I hear is, my God, I've never worked in a place like this. A place that is not doggy dog, that you got to worry that the guy behind you is trying to take you out, right? Hey, right? I want to go up the corporate ladder, you know? And these people care. They care about each other. They care about this community. And to be honest, they deserve a lot better than they get. Now they're demoralized. And Colonel, you should know what effect that has on an Army, right? Or an Air Force, or Air Force. They're demoralized. They're scared. Okay, and I'm not fighting for myself here. Okay, this is not about me anymore. But it's about them. It's about this staff that every day come in here and make you guys look like superstars. And yeah, we have the one or two that come up here and you guys are terrible and the police department, excessive force. I don't think those people even lived in Homestead. But they were here to talk about us. There's people out there that don't live in this community and are constantly tearing us down for their own selfishness, for their own purpose. So what I'm trying to get at, in the end, it's the end. Councilwoman, thank you so much. Like the mayor said, he has no confidence in me. He's made his decision. I think Councilman Fletcher has made his as well. I don't think the 12 days is going to make a difference, to be honest with you. You know how we work. You guys call us. You guys need something. We take care of it. And if we can't take care of it, we tell you we can't take care of it and why. solid waste, you want to talk solid waste? Understaffed, failing equipment, 2 years to get a truck. Do I fire the manager? Manager, you're not picking up the garbage. Jerry, I don't have the vehicles. They're 5, 10, 15 years old. They're constantly breaking down. I have insufficient staff. The amount of solid waste has gone up 40% because of COVID. And I hate saying that, but it's the truth. And so, okay, you're fired. Bring the next guy up. He's going to have the same problem the previous guy had. So it solves nothing. Once again, multiple factors when it comes to dealing with the staff, their situation, what the conditions are. And once again, you're not in the room with me, Mayor. None of you are when I address issues with staff. I think I've spoken enough. Depending on how the vote goes, I'm sure I'll have a question or two to Matt, and hopefully here tonight to clarify it. And with that, I'll cede my time for now.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second to provide the preliminary notice. Yes, Mr.
I just
Pearl.
want to clarify, because when you spoke to the notice, you mentioned a final dismissal on the 6th, which you may vote on the 6th. As we discussed, the contract does provide for an extended period. The manager, depending on the outcome of the vote, can request a hearing pursuant to his contract or waive the hearing, and the final date of his employment will depend on how that plays out over the next week. He
So
he has
we'll leave
5
that-
days
we'll-
from the date of the notice.
Right.
And I know you've noticed it for the
6th.
The 6th to take a final vote, depending on
Depending
what-
upon the actions that
what, we'll
may
have,
adjust that
we will have
contract.
to react to, the council will have to react to the demands of the manager under the contract and whether he wants to
Right.
pursue that hearing or not. So for the purposes of the motion, just to issue the preliminary
Issue the
notice.
preliminary notice.
the-
So
the
it's not
dates will de-
fatal to the notice that it doesn't have a date.
No, the dates will
Okay.
depend on what happens from there.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. So it's just provide the notice. It's not, for a final vote on a given day. All right, Madam Clerk, let's have a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Avila. Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Councilman Ross.
No.
Councilwoman Bailey. Councilman Cannonball. Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Yes.
Mayor Losner.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, so Madam Clerk, if you would distribute the memorandum with the attached resume. The individual I've had extensive conversations with, who's had several visits to our city. It's been in City Hall. I've showed him a lot of our facilities, is Dr. Zaribe Ihakwaba, and he is currently a deputy city manager for the city of Miami. He has an engineering background, extensive background in public service and the private sector. And as my cover letter to each of you, that's now public record, states, I invite each of you to meet with him and certainly welcome the opportunity to entertain any other individuals that you may bring forward. For those in the cheap seats, city clerk has this. It's public record, and it will be available. So with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'm just sorry, point of clarification. Okay, Matt, so I'm assuming I'll get a notice tomorrow. I have 5 business days to respond to that notice.
Correct.
Okay, so depending on what I respond, whether I do a demand, then that is what triggers the February meeting. If I do a waiver, There is no February meeting?
No, we'll have a February meeting.
No matter what, we're having a
We will
February
have a
meeting?
February meeting either way.
Okay, thank you.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn? Moved and seconded, all in favor? Thank you all. Good night.